You can't ever be different than who you are in the moment. But you can choose to become different by making a choice to show up differently in life. And in this video, I really want to dive deeper into the kind of like difference between who you are and how you're choosing to become. Because there's a huge difference. And there's a lot of confusion out there, I believe, that so often it's all about like changing who you are and like being different in the very moment that we are in, but it's impossible. Very often I heard, or in the last few months especially, I heard this quote: people are doing their best based on the level of consciousness that they're at. And this really is connected to what I want to share with you today. But before I get into that, hi, my name is Martin, and I really made it my purpose to share with you here my ups and downs of life. I want to inspire you to really take charge of your life, to stop focusing on how other people want you to live your life, but rather go deep within and make your own choices and take back that power so that you are in control. And for everybody who's new to my channel, very warm welcome. Thank you for joining. And if you have not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. I'm pretty new with my channel, and every subscription matters because I want to reach as many people as possible and share the things that I've been going through and learned, and hope to inspire you to grow and expand in your own life. All right, let's dive deeper into today's topic. So before I started, I read through one of the posts I made on Instagram for quite a while ago. And I read through it and I was like, okay, that's what I want to talk to you about today. And then I got confused when I kept reading what I wrote back then. And I was like, okay, who you are and how you be and become and how you choose to be. I was so confused at one point. I was like, okay, let's just start recording. I know exactly what I mean if I just trust my intuition. So the reason I'm saying that is because that's the way I'm showing up right now. It's basically a live example of what the message is. That you show up in every moment the way that you are. I was very, very close to choosing a different topic today, to be honest. Because I was like, okay, this is just getting too confusing for me. But then I was like, no, I want to talk about this because I think a lot of people are struggling with that noise out there of like become different or be different, like in the moment, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's confusion. Even when I say those words, I'm confused what people actually mean by that. So here is what I think that, or not think, but what I really believe could help you distinguish between who you are in the very moment and how you choose to show up in life and who you choose to become. So who we are in the moment, the reason why we can never change that is because the moment is happening right now, right now, right now, right now. I cannot change the way I'm showing up in this very moment. It's impossible. We always show up in this very moment the way that we're showing up as who we are, fully, 100% and completely. Very often we look back on situations and experiences and say, I knew better. Why didn't I do it in a different way? I could have done stuff differently. I could have acted differently. I could have said something. I could have stood up for myself. No. If you could have, you would have. And that phrase in itself also leaves a lot of room of confusion. If you could have, you would have. It does not mean your capability. It does not mean that you don't have the potential or the strength or the courage or any of that. You're not lacking anything. I am a firm believer that everything that you are looking to become, you already are. But, and that is a big but, no pun intended. Throughout life, we learn so many different things. When we are little babies, we already are surrounded by outside noise, opinions. So many times when I hear people talk next to little children or even babies, and they talk badly about themselves or someone else, they think they don't understand. They think the babies and the children don't understand, but their subconscious is like a sponge. They take in everything. So from basically the moment that we are put on this planet, we are surrounded by opinions, by behavior, by patterns, and by different beliefs and belief systems. However, as a baby, we have a lot of courage. We're not ashamed, excuse me. We are not ashamed of things. Babies cry when they cry. They burp when they burp. They fart when they fart. And they don't give a crap. They just are. Without filter, without holding back, without worrying, without fear, without doubt. They just show up fully as who they are. But then we grow older, and a lot of opinions again, and a lot of beliefs, and through a lot of experiences, we build our own beliefs and our own subconscious behaviors and patterns. And then we start judging ourselves. We start questioning ourselves. We put blame on ourselves. We feel guilt about the way we showed up, the things that we said. We get embarrassed. The thing is, those are valid emotions. Because we humans, we have so many different emotions that we can feel. And the spectrum of emotions that we can actually find words for is very small. We usually go with the same kind of names for emotions, like in all kinds of different situations. But like those negative emotions, there's so many of them. The positive emotions, there's so many of them. But when we focus a lot, especially when we are talking to ourselves in a negative way, the thing is, like, when we look back at situations and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. It's a valid emotion. However, you did the best you could with the level of consciousness that you were at. And what does that mean, the level of consciousness? That means that, okay, we have to go a little bit back with that. So with our thoughts, our emotions, our internal triggers, etc., there is, in the end, we have two choices or two options: reaction or a response. Very often we react based on our programming. And reacting is really, or the level of consciousness really also refers to, are we coming from more of a reactionary space or place, or are we more responding? And responding means that we are reflected, that we are taking in what's happening, processing it consciously, and then we respond to the situation or what's being said to us. Reacting is we don't even think and we just react. It's more like a survival instinct. And when we become more aware of who we are, and that's why any kind of change, you need to first create awareness. Once you start creating awareness, then immediately you cannot change either, because you're still, in every moment, you're showing up as who you are. And who you are, that also includes the love that you carry within you, your true and pure essence, your soul, but also your belief systems, the conditioning, and all those things. And they are responsible for, or all that is responsible for who you are in that very moment. But there's a difference between who you are and how you respond to what is happening around you. And that is where the huge difference comes in. You can be triggered and still choose not to follow that trigger. You can feel scared, but still make that phone call. You could be very, very frightened, but still stand up for yourself when someone is putting you down, or if they put someone else down or threaten someone. Your voice could tremble, but you could still choose to talk. It's a choice. The way or who you are does not have to be the same as how you show up. But again, that requires self-reflection and awareness. Because when you're aware and you're like, okay, I'm triggered, and I know where that trigger is coming from, but I'm choosing to show up different. I'm not going to allow my conditioning, my programming, my triggers to decide how I respond to the outside circumstances, to life itself. So you have to kind of differentiate yourself or detach yourself, the who you are and the who or how you show up. Become more of the observer instead of the person or the part of you that is in it, focused in that situation and reacting to those triggers, to those outside influences. There is so many times where I feel scared, where I just want to be somewhere else, just disappear to thin air. But then I'm like, you know what? Show up. One of the experiences that I remember, at least, probably there were a million before that, but I think the reason why I said first is because it was, I believe, my first scene in acting school. When I studied acting in New York, I had a scene and I was on stage and I was just so scared. Like, I was so nervous. I had this scene where it was like a couple, they were, I think, engaged. I don't remember exactly the scene, but there was a word I've never heard before. I don't know why I haven't heard of it, or just, at least at this point, I didn't remember. The word honeymoon. And when my scene partner asked me something about the honeymoon, I had no clue what the fuck she was talking about. And I was like, honeymoon? What is I know what honey is, and I know what mood is, but I don't know what a honeymoon is. And I was just like, oh my God. And I started sweating. I just had that, oh my God feeling within me. And I was just whispering on stage. I was so shy. It's funny because a client asked me today, like how can a shy person or a person who is scared to be on stage, how can they, or why would they decide to study acting? And I'm like, I don't know, but I loved it. It turned out to be one of my greatest passions. And when I look back, it's just so ridiculously funny the way I was showing up there, where I was just like so confused. I didn't know what the fuck I want to say or what I should say. I was just so, oh my God. But I still went for it. I didn't interrupt the scene. I didn't stop the scene. I didn't get out of the character kind of, but I used it. I was just like, okay, I just gonna continue with the scene until my teacher says stop. But I continued. I made a decision, a choice to continue. And I think so many of us we want to do something. We are aware that we want to do something different, but we choose not to. We let our triggers, our fears, our emotions dictate how we show up. And now, of course, emotions have a huge impact on what we do and how we do it. But it's important that you don't let your emotions dictate all the time where you're going and how you're showing up. You have to start to be in that driver's seat. Otherwise, the emotions will always be in your driver's seat. I mean, that was like in the beginning of the year. Did I feel like showing up for my clients? Did I feel like showing up in life in general and get out of bed? Hell no. When my relationship ended in the beginning of the year, the last thing I wanted to do is get out of bed. I just wanted to disappear in a big black hole and just never get out of it. I was just so much in pain. That heartbreak was so, I can't even describe how painful it was. And I decided to show up. I was like, I know how I feel. I know how much pain I'm in. But I'm going to show up in life. I'm going to show up for life because I think life is a gift. I think life is a gift and that we have a choice to accept that gift or to deny it or reject it. And I'm so grateful to myself that I showed up in the beginning of this year. That I showed up and said, I'm going to continue. Even when I felt like there is no point in moving forward, I still made that decision to go forward. No matter how much pain I'm carrying with me, but I'm going to show up. In that moment, I didn't know who I was. I felt lost. I felt betrayed. I felt abandoned. I had so much heaviness and fear and regret and doubt and anger and frustration, but also so much love within me that wanted to be expressed but couldn't. And I still showed up because I made the choice to show up. Not because I felt like it. Far from. I did not show up because I felt like it. I didn't show up because I was wired to show up and continue. I showed up because I made a choice and I said, I'm going to choose to show up differently than before. I'm not going to run away, but I'm also not going to hide it. I'm going to share it, but not in a way of getting pity from other people. But I'm going to show up to share so that other people can learn and grow with me together. And very interesting, during that time period, quite a few people, a few clients, and also in my circle of friends, they were struggling with a relationship. And the way that I was showing up, I could support them so much, but also vice versa. I could learn so much from them. And it created such an amazing connection. And that's the thing, like once you are aware of who you are, but even if you are aware of, you have no freaking clue who you are, and you still decide how you want to show up. I'm not going to hold back. I know how much love I have to give. I know how much kindness I have to give, how much support, how much value I have. I'm not going to hold back because I'm afraid that it might be too much. I'm not going to hold back because I'm afraid that I will be forever alone. And every single day, I remind myself of the worth that I have. Also, quite frequently, like I still have emotions based on the breakup. Today, I felt like I was on my way home and I had like emotions and I was like, okay, am I going to start crying now? I was like, okay, if that's what wants to come out, then I'm going to let it out. I didn't suppress it. I chose to sit with the emotions. But I also decided no matter what happened in the past, no matter how painful it is, how much I would want that person in my life, after everything that happened, yes, that's still part of what I want and what my heart wants. But I'm still showing up in a different way where I don't make it about them. I'm making it about life and showing up in life. If I went with my emotions, I would show up completely different. I would probably not create those videos. But the way I'm showing up is I tell myself, I know how you feel, Martin. I know sometimes it hurts. But you have a choice. You can choose to focus on the passions you have, on the people that love you unconditionally, that you love unconditionally. You can focus on the joys of love, of life. You can spread so much love, not despite of what happened to me, but because of it. Because I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels to be hurt and feel abandoned. To question your sanity, to question your worth. I know how that feels. And I made it my purpose to support people and show you that you are not alone. You have a soul friend right here. Anytime that you feel alone, remember, I'm here. I support you. I love you. And even if I don't know you, I still love you and send you so much love from my heart, from my soul to yours. Usually I do that at the end, but I feel like right now, sending you also a big squeezy hug. Gonna give you 2 today, right now and at the end of the video. And I really hope that you received my message now, that you have worth, that you are amazing the way you are, no matter if you feel like you're not showing up the way you want to, but you can choose now to become different. I would recommend that you take one thing where you feel like you've kind of shown up in a way that you don't want to. But until now, you always said, oh, I am different, or I am different, but I don't know why I showed up this way. Become aware that in that moment, you just couldn't be different. But from now on, you can. From now on, when a similar or the same situation happens again, go within just for a couple seconds and decide how you want to show up in that very moment. Because then the new you can emerge, and the true you, the real you. Because I believe we have everything that we're looking for within us, but it's covered with so much shit that we have forgotten that beneath that smelly shit is everything that we are looking for. It's right here within you. So stop looking on the outside, go deep within, and make a choice that you are who you are, that you are amazing the way you are, and that you have the power to make a choice how you show up in life from now on. All right, thank you for tuning in. I really hope this inspired you. If so, please leave a comment. It would really mean the world to me if we connected, if we shared, if you share with you something that maybe helped you with showing up differently in life. Because I think that if we share our own experiences, we can also help other people to grow and expand. And this is what I'm doing here what I want to create here, a community of like-minded people who are supporting each other, who share love, and who are just showing up in life for themselves, but also for other people. All right, thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you in the next video. As always, lots of love, and don't forget to subscribe, and your second big squeezy hug.